Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the February 25th, 2025 New Bern Board of Aldermen meeting. The prayer tonight was going to be coordinated by Alderman Aster, but I asked him if we could do something a little different. I would like to have a moment of silence. There's been some loss that has affected many in this community. Two officers in Virginia Beach, Officer Cameron Gervin and Officer Christopher Reese, both perished in the line of duty last week. And then also our city clerk's mother passed away, Miss Alice Faye Jones. So if we could have a moment of silence in memories of them, please. Thank you. If you would please rise as we pledge allegiance to the flag of our country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Alderman Creel.
Here.
Alderman Royal. Here. Alderman Aster.
Here.
Mayor Odham.
Here.
Alderman Kinsey.
Here.
Alderman Best.
Present.
Okay, item number 3 is to approve the agenda. Are there any changes the board would like to make?
So moved.
I have a motion to approve the agenda and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda is approved. Next up is the consent agenda. It's only the minutes, so I'd entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. To approve the minutes. Any discussion on those? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Next up is item number 5. Consider adopting a resolution approving a substantial amendment to the FY22 CDBG Annual Action Plan. Ms. Fulmore, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. 2 weeks ago, I stood before you to present the substantial amendment that proposed, transferring, moving $100,000 from the housing rehab line to 2 nonprofits, the Village and the Omega Center. We received no public comments on the amendment. I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous tonight.
All right. Any questions for Ms. Fulmore?
Yes. You are one dedicated young lady. I thought you were on vacation.
I am. I came tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for coming in.
Any other questions?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution approving a substantial amendment to the fiscal year 2022 CDBG Annual Action Plan.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that item? Hearing none, let's have a roll call starting with Alderman Creel.
Alderman Creel.
Yes.
Alderman Royal.
Yes.
Alderman Aster.
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey.
Yes.
Alderman Best.
Yes.
Mayor Odham.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you all.
And go back and enjoy your vacation.
Thank you.
Next up, board, we have 3 items. They're all resolutions to sell different parcels. If you'd like to, we can consider those together if the vote will be unanimous. So I'll read them all at this time. So number 6 is consider adopting a resolution to sell 1513 Lincoln Street. Item number 7 is consider adopting a resolution to sell 1009 Main Street. And item number 8 is consider adopting a resolution to sell 1013 Main Street. Mr. Hughes.
Good evening, Mayor and Alderman. BCJ Development LLC has submitted bids for all 3 of the properties in question. The first property at 1513 Lincoln Street, a bid was submitted in the amount of $4,250. This was advertised, but no upset bids were received. The property is a vacant .116 acre residential tract that was acquired by the city in 1946 through tax foreclosure. The second property at 1009 Main Street, the bid was submitted in the amount of $2,400. This is a vacant .039 acre residential tract with a tax value of $4,800. The bid was advertised, but no upset bids were received. The property was jointly acquired by the city and Craven County in 2011 through tax foreclosure. If the property is sold for this amount, the city will receive $653.33, and the county will receive $1,746.67 from the proceeds. The final property is 1013 Main Street. A bid in the amount of $2,400 was received for the purchase of this .035 acre residential tract with a tax value of $4,800. The property was advertised, but no upset bids were received. The property was jointly acquired by the city and Craven County in 2013 through tax foreclosure. If the property is sold for this amount, the city will receive $2,052.52, and the county will receive $347.48 from the proceeds.
Any questions on 6, 7, or 8?
We've owned that piece of property since 1946. Wow. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we consider adopting a resolution to sell 1513 Lincoln Street, 1009 Main Street, and 1013 Main Street.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's have a roll call starting with Alderman Royal.
Alderman Royal,
Yes.
Alderman Aster,
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey,
Yes.
Alderman Best,
Yes.
Alderman Creel,
Yes.
Mayor Odom.
Yes, motion carries. Next up is item number 9. Consider adopting a resolution supporting a through-cut intersection for the Hotel Drive US 17 intersection. Ms. Treble is coming forward.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. This evening, I would like to talk about a potential improvement to an intersection at Hotel Drive in MLK or US 17. So I just want to start with getting us acclimated to where we're going to be, this intersection is located. So the intersection is located just next to US 70. On the north side of the intersection is the Bern Square Shopping Center, and on the east side of the intersection is Pine Tree Drive, and to the south is the Hotel Drive, which has a gas station and an Asian restaurant. So why are improvements needed at this intersection? This intersection has been identified as one with a high crash pattern. Actually, it has more than 50 crashes that have occurred at this intersection or near this intersection. And of those 50 crashes, they have included fatalities and serious injuries, which raises the level of improvement needed at a much higher rate. Just within the last 5 years, there's been a total of 25 crashes, 12 of them from vehicles traveling across the intersection. So before we talk about what a through-cut intersection is, let's talk about some of the benefits. So the benefits include reduced crashes. We have increased traffic flow because it allows some more green time on your main through line, which in this case would be US 17. It's cost effective because the intersection is already existing. You're just making some minor improvements. And you have shorter wait times on both your north and south approaches, which is the Bern Shopping Center and your Hotel Drive, because the intersection signal timing has been modified to make it more efficient. So how does a through-cut intersection work? So the proposed improvements, again, targeted to improve safety, is your north and south approaches notated in red. You can no longer go through the intersection or straight across. You can only go right and left. However, there's no changes on your main line or US 17 as notated in that orange-yellow color. The only change that will happen on US 17 is that they're going to make your left approaches offset. So currently, you're looking directly at one another, and you don't have a great line of sight if a car is in the approaching or the approaching left turn lane. So they're just offsetting that a little bit. Additionally, they'll be adding some connecting sidewalks, a crosswalk, and pedestrian push buttons to allow some pedestrian mobility that currently does not exist. And of those 50 crashes that I mentioned, they weren't all just from vehicles. They're from pedestrians and cyclists as well. So one of the concerns that we heard from the MPO was, how is this going to affect the ability to get in and out of both the shopping center and the traffic that's coming from Hotel Drive? So again, the only change that we're making are the two approaches from the shopping center and Hotel Drive. All the other abilities and connections to access the shopping center and Hotel Drive remain the same. So let's walk through what would happen. So if I'm at Hotel Drive and I'm interested, maybe, okay. So if I'm at Hotel Drive and I'm interested in going to the Bern Shopping Center, I'm going to take a right on MLK. I'm going to go to Pine Tree, which is the signal that's on the right. And at that signal, I can either go left down Pine Tree and enter into the two existing driveway entrances, or I can make a U-turn at Pine Tree and MLK, make that U-turn on 17, and then take a right into the Bern Square Shopping Center, which is now converted into the right in, right out. Likewise, if I'm at the Bern Shopping Center and I want to go to hotel, I can no longer go straight across at the hotel intersection, but I can access through two access points on Pine Tree. So I take a right on Pine Tree. At the stoplight, I'm going to take a right to go on MLK. I'm approaching the hotel signal, and I would go left at that signal. So these safety improvements have been identified by DOT, again, from their regional traffic safety. These improvements would not only allow for safety improvements, but it's more efficient from the traffic signalization. And it looks like we would gain anywhere between 30 to 40 seconds on your approach from Bern Square and Hotel Drive. Additionally, as part of this project, NCDOT will be monitoring the signal at Pine Tree in US 17. One change that they will be making is they'll be posting a no-turn right on red. So, and that would allow for any U-turn movements on US 17. Across the street from Pine Tree, you've got Longley Supply and Smithfields, and that driveway approach or at that intersection is not very well defined, and we asked DOT to also look at modifications and improvements to that area just to a better signal the intersection approach. So DOT is asking for a resolution to support the installation of this through-cut intersection or this modification to this intersection. DOT stands ready. They have funding available to fund these improvements so long as the board seeks in support of the project. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Board have
Yes, sir.
questions?
Yes, the turning lane, will that be extended or it's going to remain the same?
Great question. That is one thing that they're going to be looking at is the turn lane on Pine Tree. They are going to be evaluating that, whether or not that needs to be extended because of the U-turn movement.
Because normally when coming off the bypass, turning into Bern Square, that turning lane normally is very, very congested.
And for clarification, are you talking about the turn lane, in the left turn lane into Bern Square?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We can certainly ask the DOT to evaluate that.
Okay.
Well, be there anymore, will it? You won't be able to turn back off.
No, you'll be able to turn left off of MLK into the shopping center. You just won't be able to go across MLK from either one of those.
Correct. So, would this be primary or study? I can't say for study. We changed the Pembroke First Street Road diet about maybe some years ago. And we had an opportunity, if it wasn't efficient enough, we could go back and change. Is this the same, under the same characteristics or something different? I don't know.
Given that the only improvements that they're really making at this intersection is some concrete medians and probably changing some signal heads, if for some reason that this isn't operating as efficiently as we expect, then I would suspect that DOT would consider changing it back to what it currently exists.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Deanna, you did indicate, and I thought I remember reading in the information that coming out of Bern Square or coming out of Hotel Drive, that right-hand turn lanes are going to be, or right-hand turned on red is going to be prohibited?
No, sir. The only at Pine Tree. Pine Tree is no right on red. But to my understanding, that is not recommended at this intersection.
Okay.
Again, this is still going to be a signaled intersection.
But at the signaled intersection, I mean, right hand on red will still be allowed?
That is my understanding, yes, sir.
Okay. I must have misread it because I couldn't quite figure out how DOT is saying that the wait time is actually going to be decreased
Yeah.
if they were going to be increasing the time that it takes to make a right turn on red. It just didn't quite fit, so.
Yeah, again, just for clarification, the no right turn on red is only proposed at the Pine Tree
At Pine Tree.
intersection.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just one quick question. Assuming this gets approved, I mean, any ideas to the time frame that this
I do not
improvement
have a
will be
time
made?
frame, but I do know that funding is currently available. And so they're just waiting on our official position from the city. But once I do have that timeline, I'll be happy to share that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I've got some comments. I traverse this area quite a bit, and I am not a traffic engineer. I never claimed to be. I don't know that I necessarily agree with this. DOT made the proposal for the road diet on Pembroke. There was a lot of questions about whether or not that was going to work, and the issue with that was we didn't really change the structure of the road. So if it didn't work, we were getting it repaved, and we could have put some new stripes down, and everybody would have been gone back to the way it was, and we've been happy. This is a bit more egregious, stopping traffic flow in and out of a shopping center. Just a couple comments, just so everyone's aware. That shopping center recently sold. There's new ownership. They've reached out about some potential new tenants going in there. I am going to assume that DOT probably hasn't spoken with the new owners of that shopping center.
I would think that's a fair assumption.
Because oftentimes that can affect the leasability and the value of that property. So that's a concern of mine. Another concern is for anybody that uses that car wash. With the weather we've had lately, it's been very busy, and there's a lot of traffic that backs up right there in that area. And for the folks that are coming from Trent Road area across MLK, now they're going to be forced to go to another stoplight where there's also another very busy intersection with Cookout. And Cookout oftentimes has traffic backed up on Pine Tree coming out to get back on MLK. And by making that a no turn on red, that's just going to continue to cause traffic to back up even more. So I appreciate them identifying this and looking at alternatives. I'm just not sold on it yet. But they have the money. I really wish they would use that money and pave some streets around here versus this. But this is what they're asking for us to do, and this is what the board needs to consider. So that was my comments. Anyone else?
Do you think, from the last comment that the mayor just made on the rear end of the Cookout, how people use that for a shortcut to cut through? I'm just throwing that out to ask them to consider that as well.
Yes, and I think again, the only change we're making is you can't go straight through the intersection. So there's still, the light remains. So to the mayor's point, I don't think that that the value of the property would be in jeopardy just because the light is still there. So you have the full movements off of MLK. Once you're in the shopping center, you would have to, if you wanted to go, again, only across MLK to hotel, you would have to access that through another means. But I think it all depends on how you access the shopping center and where you choose through either MLK or at the light itself. I mean, there's 4 access points for the shopping center, and those 4 access points are not being changed. The only thing that's being changed is that through movement at Hotel Drive.
One last question. What do you feel about this here, since you've been doing this here for a long, long, long time?
So this project, from the MPO's perspective, has actually been something we've been evaluating since 2021. We've submitted it through the prioritization process, both in the last cycle as well as this cycle. Due to the safety issues that we've had at this intersection, improvements are needed. And, and I understand the concern that this might not be maybe the most advantageous at this moment, but I feel that given the various points of access that the shopping center has, I don't feel like that would be a hindrance for any of their patrons. And anyone on Hotel Drive, they still have access to US 70. They still have that left capability. So I think it's warranted. I think this is a low-cost, high-yield project where we could significantly make some improvements for safety at this intersection.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, what's the pleasure of the board on item number 9?
Mayor, I'll make a resolution to adopt supporting a through-cut intersection for the Hotel Drive / US 17 intersection.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's have a roll call starting with Alderman Aster.
Alderman Aster.
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey.
Yes.
Alderman Best.
Yes.
Alderman Priel.
Yes.
Alderman Royal.
Yes.
Mayor Odom.
No. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 10 is to consider adopting a resolution approving an eligible use policy for expenditure of American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 funds. Ms. Ostrom.
So the next three are actually policies. Do you want to combine them?
Sure. Then number 11 is consider adopting a resolution approving a capital asset policy. And item number 12 is consider adopting a resolution approving a non-discrimination policy for city programs, services, and employment.
Okay, since the adoption of the ARPA policies in March 2022, the School of Government has provided additional guidance to adopt the eligible use policy for expenditures for the ARPA funds to be effective for the entire term of the grant, so it'll be retroactive. The policy defines permissible and prohibited uses of the ARP funds and adheres to the federal uniform grant guidance. The capital asset policy establishes guidelines for the physical and reporting controls of capital assets owned by the city and ensures assets are properly accounted for in accordance with laws and government accounting standards board requirements. Lastly, to ensure compliance with all federal, state, and local funding requirements, the non-discrimination policy includes provisions that prohibit discrimination for city programs, services, and employment.
Board have questions on 10, 11, or 12?
Can you give me in layman's terms what you just said so the citizens can understand that?
So there are three policies that we've brought to you that need to be approved by the board. The first one is related to the ARPA funds, which for us have already technically have been spent. We made them ARPA-enabled funds. That policy, they wanted a policy for how you can or cannot use those funds.
Okay.
That covers, it's just more definitive, and so it covers a little bit more than what they had originally. The capital asset policy is all of our assets, like our vehicles and equipment, land, that kind of assets, how we account for them, report them, and manage them. And then the third one is the non-discrimination policy, and that is required as well for our federal and state and local funding. And that basically says that there's provisions that prohibit discrimination within those with our programs and our employment and our services.
So basically, this is, all three of these is just a check and balance with finance and how the city is actually spending that money, and if we're in regulations, no violations and all that.
Right.
It's basically burden on your back, right?
Yeah, and we have complied. It's just we've not had a policy adopted by the board, and we have to have that
For
in those three areas.
Okay.
Any additional questions?
Yes, sir. Did you say that these policies are retroactive?
The first one for the ARPA funds, basically it says for the entirety of the award, which since we had gotten that award and the first dollar we spent through the end. We spent our dollars already, and so that's why School of Government said just to present it for the full entire grant award, period.
So there is basically no impact.
Yes, but it doesn't change the way we've done anything or what we spend it on. We have always been in compliance with that.
Thank you.
What's the pleasure of the board on items 10, 11, and 12?
Mayor, excuse me, I'll make a resolution approving an eligible use policy for expenditure of American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 funds. Also approving a capital asset policy and also approving a non-discrimination policy for city programs, services, and employment.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's have a roll call starting with Alderman Kinsey.
Alderman Kinsey,
Yes.
Alderman Best,
Yes.
Alderman Creel,
Yes.
Alderman Royal,
Yes.
Alderman Aster,
Yes.
Mayor Odham.
Yes, motion's carried. Next up is item number 13, consider adopting an ordinance for the demolition of 735 Bern Street. Mr. Ezell.
Good evening, Board.
Evening.
Mayor, how we doing today?
Great, thank you.
Excellent. Staff again is seeking approval on an ordinance to demolish the dwelling and accessory structure located at 735 Bern Street. Staff has sent the owner of record the initial minimum housing letter in August of 2023 stating that the dwelling and the accessory structure located at the address has deficiencies violating the city's minimum housing codes. Staff has attempted to contact the owners via the United States Postal Service. Certified and non-certified letters were delivered with no response from the owners. No working phone numbers or email addresses or relatives have been identified during our investigation. Since we filed the complaint and notice of hearing was on May in 2024, neither of the defendants replied to the hearing that was held in May 3rd of 2024. On the 31st of May 2024, the order of the building inspector was issued and was served to the owners to bring the dwelling into compliance with the minimum housing standards established by Chapter 38 of the Code with an expiration date of August of 2024. To date, there has been no contact from the owners, no permits have been applied for, and the dwelling still remains non-compliant. Demolition estimation for Public Works is $11,104.96. This does not include any costs that are going to be incurred by asbestos testing and or abatement if needed. And we have not started utility terminations on this as of yet. Any questions?
What are questions?
Yes, I do.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you're an expert with this. So this house is not savable?
No, the hole in the roof of this house has completely compromised the roof system of the home, causing it to start sagging and falling on the inside. That also puts added pressure on the exterior walls and the second floor of the home.
Okay. I didn't know because I didn't know if this was something that could be put under the redevelopment commission, could be saved.
The redevelopment commission is more than capable of trying to do that. The problem is making contact with the owners. They have been non-responsive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? It's the pleasure of the board on item number 13.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt an ordinance for the demolition of 735 Bern Street.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, let's have a roll call starting with Alderman Best.
Alderman Best,
Yes.
Alderman Creel,
Yes.
Alderman Royal,
Yes.
Alderman Aster.
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey,
Yes.
Mayor Odham.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Board.
Thank you.
Item number 14 is consider adopting a budget ordinance amendment for FY 2025. Ms. Ostrom.
The general fund is amended to appropriate $120,000 from fund balance for street lighting and utilities for the police department in the amount of $10,000, Parks and Rec in the amount of $25,000, and Public Works in the amount of $85,000 due to the increased cost of electric utilities. Additionally, the ARP-enabled project line items are amended to appropriate project allocations for projects previously approved by the board. Ward 2 in the amount of $100,000 for the Pembroke Micro Resurfacing Project and $50,000 for the Evergreen Cemetery Shelter Project. Ward 6 in the amount of $100,000 for the Parks and Rec Storage Building.
Does the board have questions on item number 14? Before I entertain a motion, I just want to make a comment. There was some misleading reporting, I'll use that terminology, about the $100,000 for the storage building and Christmas decorations. I just want to be clear. Mr. Hughes, how much roughly will the building itself cost for the storage building for the decorations?
Approximately $80,000.
So about $80,000 is going to build a structure to house the Christmas decorations, with about $20,000 being used for some Christmas decorations themselves. The reason I bring that up is you probably will recall the old BP gas station that was at the end of Simmons Street on Oaks Road. That is where the city used to store the Christmas decorations. That building was flooded with Hurricane Florence, and they have been utilizing various methods and means to store Christmas decorations ever since then. And as a reminder, the city is slated to receive close to $1 million for the BP station. So we've essentially traded a $1 million FEMA buyout, which I believe we're in the process of maybe purchasing a fire truck with that, to utilizing $80,000 of this funding to build a storage building, which replaced the building we're getting $1 million from. So just thought it was important to share. Any additional comments?
Foster, are any of the Christmas decorations stored still over at the Vault Center?
Yes, there are. Several of those are still stored there, and of course the goal is once this other facility is built, they would all be transferred over to this new building, yes.
And at that point, then, would we be looking to store additional items at the Vault Center, or would we turn over those garage space to the county college for them to utilize in their programming over there?
We would vacate any storage at the Vault Center with the new building.
Any further questions on item number 14?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt the budget ordinance amendment for fiscal year 2025.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's have a roll call starting with Alderman Priel.
Alderman Priel,
Yes.
Alderman Royal,
Yes.
Alderman Aster,
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey,
Yes.
Alderman Best,
Yes.
Mayor Odham.
Yes, motion carries. Board, item number 15 is appointments. Are there any appointments tonight? Hearing none. Item number 16 is attorney's report.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
All right, item number 17, city manager's report.
A few items to give you an update on. We just want to say thanks to several departments for all the hard work they did during the most recent winter storm. Eastern North Carolina does not get a lot of ice, and so definitely the electric utility was challenged more than any department, but do want to thank PD, Fire Rescue, Public Works, the electric utility, Parks and Recreation, Water Resources, Development Services, the building inspectors, and Public Information Officer for all the work they did during this event. Also want to let you know that the Broad Street Pier ribbon cutting will be held on Tuesday, March 4th at 10 a.m. On site at the Riverwalk, so we look forward to kicking that project off. And a reminder that loose leaf collection ends on February 28th. So the loose leaf has picked up in several areas. So if it hasn't picked up in your area, please make sure you get that out to your front yard this week. That's all we have, sir.
Okay, new business starting with Alderman Priel.
One item I would just like to echo city manager's comments about a job well done by staff during this recent ice storm. From what I could tell, their efforts help to minimize vehicular incidents, as well as other issues that the utility departments had to address due to downed trees and limbs and so forth. So, job well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Royal.
Yes, sir. Two things. Again, I'd like to echo those sentiments for our staff in providing such excellent service during our winter storm. So thank you again, staff, for all that you provided, your hard work, your intense labor. Our citizens greatly appreciate it, and I appreciate it also. The other thing, Mayor, that I wanted to raise, I received numerous inquiries regarding the meeting with Congressman Murphy. And I did not have any answers for our citizens who contacted me and asked questions. And I would hope that they had contacted you. I don't know whether they did or did not with questions, but well, I was hoping that they would have. However, for the benefit of our citizens who did not get a chance to speak with you, and for the benefit of our audience on social media, I just wanted to direct the questions that I was asked to you tonight, and hopefully you can address those questions for our citizens. I got all of my information from the Sun Journal, so I'm referring to that for the various questions that folks had. And one question they asked was, who did Congressman Murphy contact?
Congressman Murphy's office reached out to me and asked me, would we host a roundtable? I think we did one, Foster. We talked about it. It was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. We did one here upstairs here at City Hall. There was a table that was. Were you the city manager then?
I was not.
I thought it was Mark. So when Mr. Stevens was the manager, we had a roundtable discussion set up here. They asked to do the same thing again.
Okay. And another question that I was asked was, who decided who would attend the meeting?
Worked with his staff to determine that. They wanted to have some community leaders. They provided a list of who they would like to see invited, and asked for suggestions as well.
Okay. And their list included the folks that the Sun Journal reported was present?
Some of them did, yeah. I'm sure did.
In addition to that, as an alderman, I saw that the Sun Journal said that local government representatives from the city of New Bern was present. One of the questions that was asked was the entire board present. Like I said, I was made aware by reading the Sun Journal article, so I was surprised when I saw it in the newspaper. I don't know if my esteemed colleagues were there and what have you, but I didn't get the memo. And I know the article said that the meeting included local government representatives from the city of New Bern. So as an alderman and a city government representative, I was not notified. I wasn't aware. And like I said, I learned about it through reading the article in the Sun Journal. I would have welcomed the opportunity to been there, to have a seat at the table and to voice and represent my constituents, and not just Ward 2, but citizens throughout the city, because the questions that I received just did not come from Ward 2, it came from throughout the city. So were citizens invited?
No, they were not.
They were not. Okay. And I guess that was one of the things that really troubled those that I talked with, was the fact that they weren't invited and their voices weren't heard and their concerns were not expressed to their elective representative. The other thing, it says that city and county officials had questions about the future of the organization, making reference to the FEMA, and I know that's a topic that most people have questions about. FEMA is the one that we turn to when there's perils and emergencies and all of those things. So I guess with so many things happening in the federal government, I guess a lot of people are concerned about the direction of FEMA and what will happen there. In addition to that, I too believe in accountability, and I know that our congressman said that the things that are happening in Washington are things that will bring accountability to spending, and I totally agree. Taxpayers' money should be well spent. I agree to that. But I also believe in responsibility in government when it comes to representation, whether it's on a local level or state level or national level, and what have you, that the voice of the citizens, and you know my famous phrase is every voice has value. And when it comes to the citizens and not having their voice heard or their interests expressed or not having what they felt was an advocate for their needs and viewpoints to be heard, I guess that was very, very troubling to some of the citizens. And I do understand that because of the times that we're living in and the desire we have to be heard and for our voice to be counted. So I do understand that. Stuff like the Farm Bill was discussed and other things that are so important to our citizens. The Sun Journal article quoted Congressman Murphy as saying, quote, "I just think it's important that I spend my time not in D.C., but meeting with folks that are in the district." Murphy said, who represents the 3rd Congressional District, he said, I quote, "It's important for me to hear firsthand about what's going on." And I guess it was that part, too, that was troubling because those that his constituents or the people in his district wanted to be a part of the meeting. So, again, that probably added to what they were feeling. Lastly, I agree with Mr. Zev Huff, when he said that in his line of work that he pays attention to those on the margins. And he said for individuals who live on the margin, who have not benefited from the way things have been in the past, who have been crushed by the way things have been in the past, to be in a place of chaos and change, it doesn't feel better, it feels worse. And again, with my conversations with our citizens, I assume that that's about how they're feeling with all that's going on. I would like to submit that in the future. I would love to be a part. I welcome the opportunity to be a part, to hear, if the citizens are not invited, and I can't see any reason why they wouldn't be through their representative, but I would love to be a part and to express the voice of my constituents and the citizens of our city. So I would appreciate that, and I certainly hope that our congressman will return soon and allow the citizens to have a seat at the table or to have their voice heard, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Okay. New business, Alderman Aster.
I too would like to thank city staff for all the hard work during the recent ice storm, and I'd also like to take a moment to thank the Park and Recreation Department, city manager, for all the hard work in getting this public fishing pier ready to go. The groundbreaking is going to be nice. I understand the contractor's on board. He's ready to start. This wouldn't be made possible without the help from Wildlife Habitat, as well as the Don Willis and the CCA North Carolina here. Don's here in New Bern. So we just found out yesterday that the CCA has contributed $11,000 in addition to the funds that we already have received to take care of all the lighting on the fishing pier. So that's a wonderful addition, and I'm looking and hoping to get additional funds real soon for some of the other features that we would like to have down there. And that's all, Mayor.
Who is CCC?
Coastal Conservation Association.
Thank you.
Alderman Kinsey.
No, sir.
Alderman Best.
Yes, I have a couple things as well. Foster, I would like to know when, I've received certain calls from citizens wanting to know when will TV3 be back up and running. So can you give me a little?
Yes, ma'am. So we sent an update out about a week or two ago in the weekly report. Back in late December, over the holidays, we had some flooding in the building due to a water line and toilet leaking, and so our PEG channel room flooded. Right now, estimated damages are up to $150,000 in damages, not also including the ceiling and all of the electronics. So staff has been working with our insurance provider to get them all the prices they need. The last time I talked to our insurance provider, he told me that we should know something within the next 2 weeks. Hopefully, once we get that, we can go ahead and order the equipment and get that back in. We don't have a time frame on when the new equipment will arrive. So until that time comes, the Board of Aldermen meetings are broadcast live on Facebook. The meetings can still be recorded like they normally are, and they're placed on the website where you can see that. They're also placed on YouTube as well, and I think you still have access on the Roku channel. So hoping to get this resolved as soon as possible.
Okay. And next, I too would like to thank the city staff and you, all city staff that was instrumental in serving our citizens and this city during the past storm. We couldn't do it without our staff. I mean, they make us look good. We need to commend them every time we get a chance for such hard work and dedication to our city. And also would like to thank Ms. Carrie Warren and you, Foster, for taking care of those issues at the Pleasant Hill Center. And lastly, but not the least of, I would like to, I have to support Alderman Royal on some of the comments that she made, because I too, as a city leader, would like to have been at that meeting. I too had questions that I felt was pertinent to ask Congressman Murphy, considering all that's going on in this country at this time. So, you know, moving forward, if we have, so if Tillis or the Governor Stein or any other, or Tyson or any other of these congressional leaders come here to our city, I too, as long as I'm in this seat as Ward 5 representative, would like to support and be an advocate for my constituents as well. And I would hope that, Foster, you being the leader of this local government, you're the leader of this city, that, you know, you would reach out to us and invite us, even if we're there, nothing but there in the audience, so that we can have an opportunity to speak as well. So I hope that moving forward that will be an invite or some email or something sent out to us, and let us make that decision whether we want to attend or not. I just think that, you know, to sit down and not be, as a board member, and not be aware that Representative Murphy was coming to New Bern and had to read it in the Sun Journal was just a little bit disturbing. And that's the way I feel about that. So I hope moving forward that we as board members are invited.
So just to be clear, I did not set this meeting up, and
Okay.
I was invited to the meeting myself, and I was not aware of what the topics of the conversations were going to be until the questions were asked. So just be clear with that.
All right, thank you. So then I direct that to the mayor then. You know, that should, some announcement, email, text, something should have come from you, mayor, informing us board members of an upcoming meeting with one of our representatives.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, just one comment. I'd like to thank Alderman Kinsey and City Manager Hughes for yesterday. Ironically, there was an event in LaGrange. It was a breakfast hosted by East Carolina Council of Government. Had our state legislators there where you could interact with them and speak your comments and ask questions, and we had a good time. I was also pleased to see former Mayor Outlaw was in attendance there. So. And that's all I have. Do we need a closed session?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
If not, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned.